Hello everybody, today I'm going to show you how to upgrade RAM in a desktop. Desktops usually have one or two screws in the back. Then it is usually a sliding situation, something like this. This is a DDR4 PC 3200 by Samsung. I got Hynix, also PC 3200. We can just add one of these, but instead I bought two. So I can put two of this so they're the same. I kind of like it when RAM is the same. And this one I'll just use in another computer. So modern computers have DDR4 or DDR5. DDR3 is kind of gone, it's old and outdated. I'm probably the only one who still uses a computer with DDR3. So DDR4 is kind of most common, but it's gonna be less and less of that. Anyway, all of them have very similar design and everything, but one does not fit for the other, so they're different. Okay, so we have DDR4, but the looks and everything is usually similar. Okay, let's see here. So in order to take out the old RAM, what you need to do, press here on one side and on the other side, and then it kind of pops out, and it should be very easy to take it out. We took it out. There's 8 chips here. Each of them has 1 gigabyte, or rather 8 gigabit. One side is longer than the other, so there is no way you can install it wrong, right? You just need to make sure you put it correctly, just like that, right? So this side is longer than this one, so, and then we'll look over here, this side is longer than this one, like this side and this one. So you install it that way. You cannot install it that way because of this thing, you see. Everything is very reasonable. I'm gonna take it out of package. Samsung is kind of a little bit more nicer looking with more information on it. This Hynix, oh, it has more stuff on the back. You compare, you make sure it's like the same, and it is the same. They both 3200, both same size. Okay, so we're going to put this in another computer, and these two gonna go in here. This is a basic gaming computer, so 8 gig of RAM is kind of a little bit low, right? We need 16 gig. It's something you find in sometimes $2,000 computers. Although if I would assemble $2,000 computers, I would definitely put more than 16, but 16 is usually good enough for most of people. Ideally, you should remove this hard drive bay, so it's like easier for you, but I'm gonna be a little bit lazy and try to like put it like this, you know, with the sneaky fingers. We make sure they both are opened. This white thing. Okay, now we put it. We need to make sure we put it correctly. So before we're gonna put in the further one first. I know it's this way because you see, this is like the middle part. You make sure it's kind of in, and then you push it. And when you push it, you try to push it equally on both sides, so it clicks on both sides simultaneously. It doesn't have to be too hard, but you may need to put a little bit of force. But make sure you put it the correct size, otherwise you will break it or break the motherboard. Same way here, and then you just push it on both sides. See? And I have two weights. We have 16 gig of RAM here. Some motherboards have 4 slots, For that, check your motherboard manual and see which two slots are kind of primary. So you put in those for best performance. Double check, make sure it's in, everything closed, everything. I already showed you how to upgrade the video card, so we upgraded RX 5500 to RX 6600, so it has a much better video card. And the next weak spot was 8 GB of RAM, now it's 16. You may also put like a SATA SSD. We have here, this is for the power, and we have SATA somewhere. Yeah, we have SATA there. Yeah. We're gonna run a few tests to see if everything works well with the new setup. Turn it on. Good green light. Green. Everything spinning. Video card spinning too. Don't do that. This spinning, spinning. Okay, everything spinning. Don't touch with your fingers like this. No good. We get to Windows installation first. Testing. Airplanes. Here we got the tests results. Let's see here. Gaming, desktop, workstation. Ryzen 5 5600. Pretty good. RX 6600. SSD, RAM. Works great. This would be my advice for someone who wants to build a basic gaming desktop, or if you already have one and you want to upgrade it a little bit. You need 16 gig of RAM that we upgraded today, right there, 16 gig. You need some reasonable video card, something that your power supply will still hold if you upgrade in one. And if you build in, you probably want to go a little bit over with the power supply. But here we just upgrading it. So extra RAM, 16 gig is what you need. You may even go for 32, but it won't be that big of a difference in most of things. It will be about the same. CPU, you can keep a mediocre CPU. This is something you can save money on. The games are usually limited by the video card. And if you have no video card or something really basic, just upgrade to something reasonable. And ATI now have really good video cards for the price. Something like 6600. You want to go a little bit further, you can get like 6700 maybe. And as for the storage memory, always good to have SSD. I would suggest to have just one SSD like this or two SSDs. I'm not a big fan of hard drives. I think it's something outdated. So you would probably get like 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte SSD like this, or keep 256 or 512 over there and get a SATA SSD rather than a hard drive. SATA SSD gonna be much faster than hard drive. And that's pretty much it. You can find something like this, all the parts, maybe for 500 something, maybe 600. You can get something like this and it'll be good.